If you've spent any time at all in the Python world, you have definitely heard of Flask. It's this super lightweight, flexible web framework that kind of magically powers some of the absolute biggest names in tech. So today, we're going to dig in and figure out exactly how it pulls that off. And yeah, that really is the big question, isn't it? How on earth can something that calls itself a micro framework be the engine behind giants like Netflix and Reddit? It just doesn't seem to add up. But here's the thing. The answer is all about how you think. And this right here, this is the key. Micro isn't about what Flask can't do. It's about what it chooses not to do for you right out of the box. It's about minimalism, and that minimalism is what gives you, the developer, total and complete control. So what does that actually mean? Well, a micro framework gives you the absolute bare-bones skeleton you need for a web app. Think request handling and routing URLs, and that's about it. Everything else, databases, forms, user logins, that's all up to you. You get to build your perfect toolkit, piece by piece. And that whole philosophy, that's the magic trick. That's what transforms Flask from a simple tool into this absolute lightweight powerhouse. It starts out small, but believe me, its potential for growth is pretty much endless. So this whole approach really comes down to these three big ideas. First, simplicity. The core is so small you can actually wrap your head around it. Second, flexibility. And this one is huge. You get to call the shots. You pick the tools, not the other way around. And finally, it's Pythonic design. It just feels like Python, you know? It follows that classic mantra, explicit is better than implicit. Okay, so that's the philosophy, but what does that actually get you when you're writing code? Well, for starters, way less boilerplate. It's also super easy to extend, which makes it an absolute dream for building APIs. And for whipping up a quick prototype, it's unbeatable. All this means it's just really, really easy to learn. All right, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty. I want to show you just how ridiculously fast you can go from absolutely nothing to a running web app with Flask. No, seriously, it's just these 3 steps. You install it, you write a tiny bit of code, and you hit run. Boom, done. You have a live web server. And this is it. This is the code. Look at that. It's barely anything. This right here is a real working web application. You import Flask, create your app, and then this little decorator thing, the @app.route, that's the magic. It tells Flask, hey, when someone goes to the main page, run this function. And that function just returns hello Flask. That's literally it. Okay, so hello Flask is a fantastic start. But let's be honest, it's not gonna power Netflix. Real-world apps need, well, a bit more. So how do we build on this super simple foundation and start adding some real power? At the heart of any web app is routing. It's basically the traffic cop that directs visitors. And in Flask, it's that @app.route decorator we just saw. That's the whole system. It's just a dead simple way to connect a URL directly to a piece of your Python code. And it gets better. It's not just for static pages. Check this out. See how username is inside those little angle brackets? That's a placeholder. It tells Flask, hey, whatever someone types in the URL here, just pass it along to my function. So if you go to /user/Alice, boom, the function gets Alice and you can return hello Alice. It's so clean, right? And so powerful. Okay, that's cool for simple pages, but you're probably thinking, what about the hard stuff, right? Like, what about connecting to a database, or handling secure forms, or managing user logins? And the answer is classic Flask. You just add what you need. You don't get any of that by default. Instead, you tap into this massive ecosystem of what are called extensions. Think of them like plugins or apps for your app. And here's just a little taste. It's like a menu of features you can order from. You need to talk to a database? Grab Flask SQL Alchemy. You need to handle web forms securely? Oh yeah, you're going to want Flask WTF. User accounts? Flask logins got your back. You see the pattern here? It's all a la carte. You only bring in the parts you're actually going to use. And this whole idea, this modular, build-your-own framework approach, isn't just about adding features. It's actually the secret sauce for how you scale a Flask app from a tiny side project into something huge and ready for production. Because let's be real, once your application gets big, you can't just have everything dumped into one giant file. That would be a nightmare. And that's exactly what blueprints are for. They're like organized sections for your app. You could have a user's blueprint, a billing blueprint. They're like little self-contained mini apps that all plug into the main one, keeping everything tidy and manageable.
And don't think for a second this is just for hobby projects. When you're ready to go live, Flask is a total pro. You can use industry standard stuff like gUnicorn and Nginx, easily push it to cloud platforms like Heroku, or wrap the whole thing in a Docker container. It plays well with everything.
Okay, so we've seen the what and the how. Now let's get to the who. Let's see Flask out in the real world and finally answer that big question we started with.
And there it is, the answer. Netflix, Reddit, Lyft, Patreon, even MIT. I mean, these are household names. And they're all using Flask for crucial parts of their business. Internal tools, backend services, payment APIs, you name it. So yeah, that micro framework, it's delivering some seriously macro results.
You know, the best way to really get Flask is to put it next to the other giant in the Python web world, Django. The analogy I always come back to is this. Flask is a big box of Legos. It gives you the fundamental building blocks, and you can build anything. Django, on the other hand, is like a pre-packaged model airplane kit. It comes with all the pieces, the glue, the instructions, everything you need. One isn't better, they're just for different kinds of projects. And that's really what it all boils down to. Flask is this amazing proof that simple doesn't mean weak. In fact, when you give a smart developer a simple, powerful core, it becomes a source of incredible speed and creativity. It's more than just a tool. It really feels like the spirit of Python itself, captured in a web framework. It lives and breathes that core idea that simple is better than complex. It gives you clarity, it gives you control, and in a complicated world, that's a beautiful thing.
So there you have it. We've seen how this minimalist micro idea can be extended to power some of the biggest tech companies on the planet. And it leaves you with a really interesting thought. If that much power can come from such a simple beginning, what are you going to build with it?